As we delve deeper, we shall find that it encompasses the very essence of our existence, our purpose, and our ultimate fulfillment. Let us begin by considering what we mean by mental peace. Is it merely the absence of conflict or distress in our minds? Or is it something far more profound, more transformative? I submit to you that true mental peace is not a passive state of being, but an active, dynamic alignment of our thoughts, emotions, and actions with the deepest truths of our existence. In my work, May Christianity, I wrote, "If you look for truth, you may find comfort in the end. If you look for comfort, you will not get either comfort or truth, only soft soap and wishful thinking to begin." And in the end, this principle applies beautifully to our pursuit of mental peace. When we act as if mental peace is everything, we are not seeking mere comfort or the absence of discomfort. We are seeking truth, alignment, and But let us not be naive. To act as if mental peace is everything does not mean that we will never face challenges, conflicts, or moments of distress. As I wrote in The Problem of, we can ignore even pleasure. But pain insists upon being attended to. God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Indeed, it is often through our struggles and pains that we are led to seek mental peace most earnestly. It is in the crucible of life's challenges that we forge the strength and wisdom necessary to cultivate true inner tranquility. So, how do we begin to act as if mental peace is everything? It starts, I believe, with a profound understanding of our own nature and our place in the grand tapestry of existence. As I wrote in The Weight of Glory, there are no ordinary people. You have never talked to a mere mortal. Nations, cultures, arts, civilizations, these are mortal, and their life is to ours as the life of a gnat. But it is immortals whom we joke with, work with, marry, snub, and exploit, immortal horrors or everlasting splendors. When we truly internalize this truth, that we are not mere mortals, but beings with eternal significance, we begin to see our mental state in a new light. We begin to understand that our inner peace is not just a matter of personal comfort, but a reflection of our alignment with our true nature and purpose. This brings us to an important point, the power of perspective. As I wrote in the Screwtape Letters, indeed the safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sudden turnings, without signposts. The same can be said of the road to mental turmoil. It is not usually dramatic events that erode our peace, but the slow accumulation of worries, resentments, and misaligned priorities. To act as if mental peace is everything is to be vigilant against these gradual erosions. It is to constantly realign our perspective, to see our daily experiences in the light of eternity. When we do this, we find that many of the things that disturb our peace begin to lose their power over us. Consider, if you will, the great figures of faith and history who maintained their inner peace even in the face of tremendous adversity. Did they not act as if mental peace was everything? Think of Daniel in the lion's den or Paul singing hymns in prison. These individuals did not allow external circumstances to dictate their internal state. They understood that their mental peace was rooted in something far deeper and more enduring than their immediate circumstance. Now, some might argue that this focus on mental peace is a form of escapism, a denial of the very real problems and injustices in the world. But I assure you, it is quite the opposite. When we act as if mental peace is everything, we become more capable of engaging with the world's challenges in a constructive and effective manner. As I wrote in The Abolition of Man, we make men without chests and expect of them virtue and enterprise. We laugh at honor and are shocked to find traitors in our midst. We castrate and bid the geldings be fruitful. When we neglect our inner world, when we fail to cultivate mental peace, we become like these men without chests, incapable of true virtue or meaningful action in the world. But when we prioritize our mental peace, We develop the inner strength and clarity necessary to face life's challenges with grace and effectiveness. We become like the wise man who built his house upon the rock, able to withstand the storms of life because our foundation is secure. This brings us to an important distinction, the difference between peace and complacency. To act as if mental peace is everything is not to become passive or indifferent to the world around us. It is rather to cultivate a state of inner calm from which we can engage more effectively with life's challenges. As I wrote in the Four Loves, to love at all is to be vulnerable. Love anything and your heart will be wrung and possibly broken. If you want to make sure of keeping it intact, you must give it to no one, not even an animal. Wrap it carefully around with hobbies and little luck. Avoid all entanglements. Lock it up safe in the casket or coffin of your selfishness. But in that casket, safe, dark, motionless, airless, it will change. It will not be broken. It will become unbreakable, impenetrable, irredeemable. In the same way, if we try to protect our mental peace by avoiding all challenges and conflicts, we will find that our peace becomes brittle, fragile, easily shattered by the slightest disturbance. True mental peace is not the absence of storms, but the ability to remain centered and grounded in the midst of them. So, how do we cultivate this kind of robust, resilient mental peace? It begins, I believe, with a commitment to truth. There are only two kinds of people in the end: those who say to God, "Thy will be done," and those to whom God says, in the end, "Thy will be done." When we align ourselves with truth, with the deepest realities of existence, we create a foundation for lasting mental peace. This alignment with truth requires courage. It requires the willingness to face our own shortcomings, to confront the aspects of our lives that are out of harmony with our deepest values. As I wrote in The Problem of, we can ignore even pleasure. But pain insists upon being attended to. God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. When we act as if mental peace is everything, we become attuned to these whispers, these speaks, these shouts. We learn to listen to the guidance that comes from our conscience, from our deepest intuitions, from the still small voice. And in doing so, we align ourselves more and more closely with the source of true peace. But let's be clear, this journey towards mental peace is not a solitary one. As I wrote in The Four Loves, friendship is born at the moment when one man says to another, "What, you too? I thought that no one but myself." In our pursuit of mental peace, we find companions along the way. We discover that our inner journey connects us more deeply with others who are on a similar path. This brings us to an important aspect of acting as if mental peace is everything. The way it transforms our relationships. When we prioritize our inner tranquility, we become less reactive, less prone to conflict, more capable of genuine empathy and understanding. We create a ripple effect, spreading peace not just within ourselves, but to those around us. Consider, if you will, the impact of a single individual who truly embodies mental peace. How many conflicts might be avoided? How many hearts might be soothed? How many others might be inspired to seek their own inner peace? As I wrote in Mere Christianity, good and evil both increase its compound interest. That is why the little decisions you and I make every day are of such infinite importance. Each time we choose peace over conflict. Each time we respond with calm rather than reactivity, we are making a deposit in the bank of a more peaceful world. We are contributing to a culture of tranquility, of wisdom, of true human flourishing. But let us address a potential objection. You might be thinking, but Lewis, isn't there a danger in this focus on mental peace? Couldn't it lead to passivity in the face of injustice or indifference to the suffering of others? This is a valid concern, and one that deserves our attention. Indeed, there is a fine line between peace and apathy, between tranquility and indifference. As I wrote in the Screwtape letters, indeed the safest road to hell is the gradual one. The gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sign turnings, without signposts. We must be vigilant against the gradual slide into complacency or self-absorption. But true mental peace, the kind we are advocating for, does not lead to passivity or indifference. On the contrary, it empowers us to engage more effectively with the world's challenges. When we are not constantly buffeted by our own inner turmoil, we have more energy and clarity to address the needs of others and the problems of our world. As we near the midpoint of our discourse, let us consider how we might practically apply this philosophy of acting as if mental peace is everything in our daily lives. It begins, I believe, with mindfulness. A constant awareness of our inner state and its relationship to our thoughts, words, and actions. Start each day by centering yourself, by reconnecting with your deepest values and priorities. As you face challenges, big or small, pause and ask yourself, how would I approach this if mental peace truly were everything? The simple shift in perspective can unlock creative solutions and untap reserves of patience and wisdom. Practice what I call peace-centered decision-making. Before making any significant choice, consider not just its practical implications, but its impact on your mental peace. Will this decision align you more closely with your true self, or will it create inner conflict and turmoil? Cultivate gratitude as a pathway to peace. As I wrote in Mere Christianity, gratitude exclaims very properly, how good of God to give me this. Thankfulness says, how good of God to give me this. The difference between the two is that gratitude looks at the giver, while thankfulness looks at the gift. When we focus on the giver, on the source of all good things, we align ourselves more closely with the source of true peace. Learn to distinguish between productive concern and unproductive worry. As I explored in the Screwtape letters, there is nothing like suspense and anxiety for barricading a human's mind against the enemy. He wants men to be concerned with what they do. Our business is to keep them thinking about what will happen to them. When we act as if mental peace is everything, we learn to focus our energy on what we can control. Our actions, our responses, our attitudes, rather than fretting about outcomes beyond our influence. Practice forgiveness, both of others and of yourself. As I wrote in The Weight of Glory, to be a Christian means to forgive the inexcusable, because God has forgiven the inexcusable in you. Holding on to resentment and guilt is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. When we forgive, we free ourselves from the burden of bitterness and open ourselves to deeper prayer. Cultivate a sense of purpose beyond yourself. As I wrote in Mere Christianity, aim at heaven and you will get earth thrown in. Aim at earth and you get neither. When we align our lives with a higher purpose, we find that many of the small disturbances that once troubled us begin to lose their power. We gain a perspective that allows us to maintain our peace even in challenging circumstances. Now, as we move into the latter part of our discourse, let us consider the broader implications of this philosophy. What might our world look like if more of us chose to act as if mental peace were everything? Imagine, if you will, a society where people prioritize their inner state as much as their outer achievements, where decisions in business, politics, and personal relationships are made with consideration for their impact on mental well-being, where education focuses not just on accumulating knowledge, but on cultivating wisdom and inner peace. This, I believe, is the transformative potential of our philosophy. By choosing to act as if mental peace is everything, we not only transform our own lives but contribute to a cultural shift. We become part of a movement towards greater wisdom, compassion, and genuine human flourishing. But let us not be naive. This path is not an easy one. In a world that often values external achievement and constant stimulation over inner peace, Choosing to prioritize our mental state can feel like swimming against the tide. We may face misunderstanding. We may be seen as impractical or even selfish. Yet I would argue that this is a small price to pay for the profound benefits we gain. As I wrote in the last battle, I have come home at last. This is my real country. I belong here. This is the land I have been looking for all my life, though I never knew it till now. When we choose to act as if mental peace is everything, we come home to ourselves. We find our real country, our true belonging, not in external validation or achievement, but in the deep satisfaction of living in harmony with our truest nature. Moreover, by choosing this path, we give others permission to do the same. We create spaces of peace in our relationships, our workplaces, our communities. We demonstrate that it's possible to live and work and create from a place of inner tranquility, even in the midst of life's inevitable challenges. As we near the conclusion of our discourse, let us consider one final aspect of our philosophy, its spiritual dimension. As I wrote in Mere Christianity, if I find in myself desires which nothing in this world can satisfy, the only logical explanation is that I was made for another world. When we act as if mental peace is everything, we open ourselves to this other world, not as an escape from reality, but as a deeper engagement with it. We touch something eternal, something beyond the fleeting nature of our daily concerns and struggles. This is not to say that we should ignore or devalue the physical world and its concerns. Far from it. As I wrote in the Screwtape letters, there are two equal and opposite errors into which our race can fall about the devils. One is to disbelieve in their existence. The other is to believe and to feel an excessive and unhealthy interest in them. In the same way, there are two errors we can make about mental peace. One is to ignore its importance altogether, to become so caught up in the external world that we neglect our inner life. The other is to become so focused on our own inner state that we neglect our responsibilities and relationships in the world. The key is to find a balance, to act as if mental peace is everything while still engaging fully with the world around us. This balance allows us to be in the world but not of it, to contribute meaningfully to society while maintaining our inner center. As we draw our discourse to a close, let me share with you a final thought from the weight of glory. It would seem that our Lord finds our desires not too strong, but too weak. We are half-hearted creatures, fooling about with drink and sex and ambition when infinite joy is offered us, like an ignorant child who wants to go on making mud pies in a slum because he cannot imagine what is meant by the offer of a holiday at the sea. We are far too easily pleased. My friends, when we settle for a life of inner turmoil, of reactivity, of constant distraction, we are like that child making mud pies. We are contenting ourselves with far less than what is offered to us. Mental peace is not just a pleasant state of mind that is the gateway to a fuller, richer, more meaningful existence. So I challenge you, as you leave this hall and return to your daily lives, to aim higher. Aim not just for success or comfort, but for true inner peace. Act as if mental peace is everything, not because it is the only thing that matters, but because it is the foundation from which all other good things flow. Remember, as I wrote in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, once a king or queen of Narnia, always a king or queen of Narnia. In the same way, once you embrace this philosophy of acting as if mental peace is everything, it shapes your identity, your choices, your very being. Go forth with courage, with determination, and with the unshakable belief in the importance of your inner world. Be kind to yourself along the way. Celebrate the moments of profound peace you experience. Learn from the times when you lose your center, and never lose sight of the magnificent being you are becoming. And as you do so, remember that your inner peace is not just for you alone. It is a gift you give to the world, a light that illuminates the path for others. In choosing to act as if mental peace is everything, you become a beacon of tranquility, a source of wisdom, a force for genuine good in a world often dominated by chaos and reactivity. Thank you, and may your journey be filled with the joy that comes from living a life centered on inner peace, driven by purpose and characterized by genuine growth.